Hi, I'm Keith with Panasonic Connect. We're here at NAB 24 in New York City talking about KAIROS and all the cool new features we've got. So let's get to it. For starters, we now have the ability that people have asked for some time, which is the emulator mode. The emulator is a free piece of software that runs on any Windows machine, and I mean any old Windows machine, laptop, PC, desktop, whatever it happens to be. And now the famous creator software that tells KAIROS what to do can connect and control that emulator, which means you can now practice with KAIROS in any environment, no network connection needed or anything like that. You have the ability to create a program, save it, load it into an actual KAIROS. You can take a production that was created in KAIROS and load it into the emulator and work with that, manipulate, build everything you want to build, save it again, and you're good to go. It's also a great way just to learn how KAIROS works and get familiar with it. So you can practice before you go to your big show. You can get to understand all of its cool capabilities, adding on layers, MEs, just about everything. So the emulator is definitely the way to learn about it. You can download it for free from Panasonic's website. Super encourage you to do that. Really cool. Now, some of the new features you'll find in the emulator, in addition to, of course, the actual version of KAIROS, will be things like its great smart routing feature. This is for folks in a big 2110 environment with lots of sources. Now, normally you think of yourself as being hamstrung by just how many sources you could get into a single 100 gigabit connection. But now we don't have to worry about that anymore because KAIROS, on the fly, dynamically has the ability to look at all the sources that are on your 2110 network. It could be 20 sources, it could be 50, it could be 100 sources. You can look at those and dynamically, once again, bring them in. As soon as you take it to the air, it's a make before break situation. And now you've got the ability to pretty much bring in anything 2110, whether it be 4K, HD, whatever. Now we've got that cool capability to work into your show. So now we think of our ability to address or talk to the greater number of sources as being vastly expanded when it comes to what we're able to do with smart routing. So now we can designate a source as being on demand, meaning it might come and go as is necessary, or lesser used shots, things like that, lesser used cameras, remotes, what have you. And then there's the ones that are there all the time, guaranteed to be part of your 2110 infrastructure, guaranteed to be ready and put on air whenever you want. So smart routing allows us to expand the 2110 infrastructure that we connect to KAIROS with your sources well beyond the normal number that we can connect to. Okay, so that's smart routing. Biggest and most popular feature. Now, the next thing, collection of really cool features. We've expanded our capability for working with NDI in terms of the kind of data they're able to see, ability to adjust delay and latency if you want when it comes to connecting your NDI sources. You've also got the ability to work in alpha channels depending on the situation. And if we want to talk about how we can work with our media, as you know, you can basically have resolutions of your media that are meant for unusual aspect ratios, which means unusual resolution count. So the resolution you have for the media you create and load into KAIROS can match precisely your unusual aspect ratio output. So if you've got an LED video wall, like the great one behind me from our friends at BNY, you now have the ability to address that precisely pixel for pixel, depending on what your resolution happens to be. So that content can be created, live within inside of KAIROS, play back from KAIROS, go straight to the wall, no other devices in between, nothing else to hamper the signal in all its glory, going from KAIROS straight to the wall. So that's been something that's been around for a while. Keep in mind, we can now do that with natively compressed content. You've got ProRes, you've got H.264, MP4, all that kind of stuff. All those things are now things that can live inside of KAIROS, play back its compressed content, up to and including your 4444 content in the ProRes world. So alpha channels built in, audio embedded, all that stuff is great. Playing back from inside of KAIROS. And of course, you've always had the ability to do RAM, player content, stills, things of that nature. But again, in the native aspect ratio, the native pixel count for the material that you've got. So besides that, we've now got the ability to do a host of other cooler features that allow us to bring in content, again, from a variety of sources, depending on the machine, like the one behind me, the KAIROS Core 2000, 16 SRT streaming inputs, 4 coming out of the system. That's in addition to the NDI, in addition to SDI, in addition to 2110. All of that can come into KAIROS. Those same flavors come out of KAIROS, so lots of flexibility there. And then when it comes to the idea of bringing sources into the system, how how you use those? Well, you've got the ability to work with clean keys coming through the system. So those can exist within the system. A collection of keys, for example, you've got 10 layers, 10 different keys. That clean key concept means that within the system, now you can separate out certain layers that you don't want to leave as part of your output. That can also happen at the output layer itself. It can also be a dirty key functionality where certain keys are permanently on certain outputs. Keep in mind, we've got 40 outputs from KAIROS, 40 different MEs, if you will. Those dirty key outputs essentially can be permanently superimposed. Maybe the person doing graphics will want to see something on the air all the time, not have to bug the TD to turn on the key so they can see if their content looks correct. You can actually make it so it's superimposed all the time just for them. And that's in addition to all cool features we've had for some time now, such as the ability to have an overlay, a bug built in, if you will, that goes to one particular output. And again, keep in mind, depending on the KAIROS, 40 distinct different outputs with 40 unique signals from 40 MEs, and they can all be precisely tailored. Some things have a special bug, or an overlay, as we call it officially. Other ones have that clean key concept, maybe the dirty key concept, and some other new features that are part of KAIROS lately, the ability to have color correction. There's now 7 different kinds of color correction you can do with KAIROS. Traditional RGB, of course, YUV, but now we've got matrix style conversion for color that you would expect to see inside of a camera. And inside of that camera, you might have, again, adjusting your various elements when it comes to the simplistic nature of, R minus Y, things like that. But you can also have effectively the ability to go to honing on individual colors, just like you would have in a conventional camera environment. That same simplistic ease of use exists for color correction inside of KAIROS. So, lots of ways to color correct your image, and again, those can be applied to individual outputs if necessary, because you might want to tweak a particular monitor that's a little soft on the purple range. You can goose just that if you want to. Anything you want to do can be color corrected and applied to all your outputs by the same token. So lots of flexibility there. And then when it comes to the idea of other effects that we've included, there's now the film look effect with lots of handles and capabilities, and a glow effect that you can use to enhance certain replay transitions, for example, things of that nature. So all those things have lots of handles. Like with anything we do in KAIROS, you can add on multiple versions of an effect. You have the ability to combine effects together in a simplistic way. So lots of cool capability when it comes to adding, we'll say, subtle effects such as color correction, or dynamic effects such as, again, the new glow and the new film style look. All these things are, of course, under control of your transitions, all of which can be controlled via macros, all of which can be put into a snapshot. All those kinds of cool things are ready and willing to enhance the production value of your show. That's the hallmark of KAIROS, making your shows look better, making it happen very easily. And no better way to do that than with one of the 4 machines that we currently have in the KAIROS world. If you have a chance to come by our show here, or I should say our booth here at NAB 24, we're here today and tomorrow, Thursday. Please come by and take a look. Love to see you.